You see, when people think of the Mariana Trench, they immediately imagine it as a cold, dark, lifeless place, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Perhaps one of the biggest and most important discoveries we've ever made about life itself has to do with the Mariana Trench. What was once thought of as a pitch-black abyss is now seen as a hub of life due to hydrothermal vents cracking open the seafloor and releasing water heated deep within the earth. Deep in the ocean's hadal zone, survival is nearly impossible for most creatures. The pressure here is extreme, hundreds of times stronger than at the surface, and in the deepest trenches, more than 1,000 times greater. For many animals, this would be deadly. Any air inside their bodies, even tiny pockets in their lungs or tissues, would be crushed instantly. But the Dumbo octopus is built differently. Unlike many sea creatures, it has no gas-filled spaces in its body. That means there's nothing to collapse under pressure. The simple but powerful trait allows it to live comfortably in one of the most harshest environments on Earth. Scientists have since studied how animals like the Dumbo octopus have managed to survive in these conditions. It turns out that over time, the Dumbo octopus has adapted at a chemical level. Its enzymes, the tiny systems inside its body that control important processes, are specially designed to work under crushing pressure and freezing temperatures. In humans, these same processes would fail under such conditions, making survival impossible. Like other octopuses, the Dumbo octopus also has copper-rich blood. This helps it survive in cold waters with very little oxygen, allowing it to function where most creatures could not. But what truly sets the Dumbo octopus apart is how it moves. Most octopi rely on speed to escape danger. They use jet propulsion, pulling water into their bodies and then forcefully pushing it out to shoot away from predators. It's fast and effective. The Dumbo octopus takes a different approach. In the deep sea, there are fewer predators, so speed isn't as important. Instead, it moves with calm, controlled grace. It slowly glides through the water, opening and closing its webbed arms like a soft umbrella. Its small, ear-like fins gently steer it forward. The result is something mesmerizing. In a sea of darkness and pressure, the Dumbo octopus moves almost like a dancer. It's a beautiful thing in a world that seems so alien to us. One of the strangest animals in the trench is the Barreleye fish. It has a clear, see-through head that lets scientists see inside its skull. Inside are two tube-shaped eyes that point mostly upward. This helps the fish spot the shadows of prey moving above it in the dark ocean. Scientists did not even know this fish existed until 1939, when one was brought up from about 2,500 feet below the ocean surface. Even today, researchers still know very little about how the Barreleye fish lives, grows, or reproduces. The trench is also home to giant amphipods and giant isopods, strange deep-sea creatures related to shrimp and crabs. Normally, amphipods living near the surface are very small, only a few centimeters long. But in the deep ocean, some grow larger than 30 centimeters. These creatures look like giant armored bugs crawling through the darkness. Scientists call this strange growth deep-sea gigantism, where some animals become much bigger in the deep ocean than their relatives near the surface. What makes this even more surprising is that there is very little food in the trench. Scientists still do not fully understand why these creatures grow so large or how their bodies survive the crushing pressure. Somehow, their cells and tissues are built to keep them from being flattened, even under conditions that would destroy most living things. Fortunately, not every discovery inside the trench paints a hopeless picture for deep-sea life. Some of the things scientists have found down there are not only strange, but genuinely fascinating. Back in 2016, a team of US researchers was exploring the trench with deep-sea cameras near the Enigma Seamount, almost 3,700 meters below the surface. As their equipment drifted through the darkness, something unusual suddenly appeared in front of the lens. It was a jellyfish, unlike anything they had seen before. The creature glowed with soft colors, its thin tentacles stretched outward like delicate threads floating in space. But what really caught the scientists' attention was the way it moved, or rather, didn't move. Its bell remained almost completely still. Instead of actively hunting, the jellyfish simply hovered in the black water, silently waiting for smaller organisms to drift too close. As the cameras continued recording, parts of the jellyfish seemed to light up from within. Its glowing internal structures led researchers to believe they could belong to the genus Krevzelj. But not everyone agreed. Some scientists suspected they might be looking at an entirely new species never documented before. And that raises an unsettling question. If something this bizarre could remain hidden for so long, what else is floating through the darkness of the trench, completely unknown to science? In these deep, dark places, entire communities of life exist without any sunlight at all. Instead of using light for energy, tiny bacteria rely on chemicals coming from the earth. They turn substances like sulfur and minerals into energy, a process that supports life in this extreme environment. These bacteria form the base of the food chain. Larger animals depend on them to survive, either by eating the bacteria directly or by hosting them inside their own bodies. Creatures like tube worms and clams gather around these vents in huge numbers. Together, they create thick, crowded colonies in what would otherwise be an empty, lifeless seafloor. The scene almost looks unreal, like an underwater factory, with dark clouds of mineral-rich smoke rising from the vents and drifting into the ocean. In fact, scientists believe these geothermal vents may hold important clues about how life first began on Earth. A new study by researchers from the Riken Scientific Research Institute at the Tokyo Institute of Technology is helping to explain why. What makes these vents so special is that they can produce energy without any living cells being involved. Around these vents, scientists discovered tiny structures called nanostructures. These act like natural filters, allowing certain charged particles to pass through while blocking others. This movement of particles creates a small difference in electrical charge or voltage, similar to how energy works inside the cells of living organisms. What surprised researchers the most is that this process happens without any life at all. It's known as osmotic energy conversion, a way of producing energy that living things rely on today. But this study suggests it may have existed long before life itself. Biochemist Ryuhei Nakamura explained that these naturally forming channels could have played a key role in creating the right conditions for life to begin, not just on Earth, but possibly on other planets as well. Hydrothermal vents form when seawater seeps deep into Earth's crust, gets heated by magma, and then rises back up. This water is rich in minerals and energy, making it a powerful environment for chemical reactions. The vents studied here are especially complex, made from a mix of minerals that create unique conditions. In one sample, scientists found crystals arranged in tiny, straight channels. These channels controlled how fluid moved through the vent, helping to create that important voltage difference. It's a simple process, but it could have been a major step toward the development of life. The discovery also has modern uses. It could help improve something called blue energy, where electricity is created from the difference between salt water and fresh water. By studying these natural systems, scientists may find cleaner and more efficient ways to produce energy. But the biggest impact of this research is what it tells us about our origins. It brings us closer to understanding how life could form from non-living materials. While there are still many questions, hydrothermal vents are now seen as one of the strongest clues in the story of how life on Earth began billions of years ago. Far out in the Pacific Ocean, east of the Philippines, lies a massive protected area known as the Mariana Trench Marine National Monument. Covering more than 95,000 square miles, the monument is divided into three main parts, each with its own environment and importance. The first is the Islands Unit, which includes the waters around three northern islands, Farallon de Pajaros, Mog, and Asuncion. Then we have the Volcanic Unit, also known as the Mariana Arc of Fire. This area includes 21 underwater volcanic sites. The final section is the Trench Unit. This includes the deep sea floor stretching across the region, from the waters near the northern Mariana Islands down to Guam. This is where the trench reaches its greatest depths, Challenger Deep. This part of the Mariana Trench is perhaps the most awe-inspiring. It sits at the southern end of the Mariana Trench, a massive underwater canyon stretching about 1,580 miles across the Pacific. At nearly 36,000 feet below the surface, Challenger Deep is deeper than Mount Everest is tall. The ocean is divided into layers based on depth. Near the surface is the sunlight zone, where light and warmth allow life to thrive. But Challenger Deep lies in the deepest layer of all, the Hadal Zone, named after Hades. Down here, there is no light at all. Temperatures are just above freezing, and the pressure is more than 1,000 times stronger than at sea level. Challenger Deep itself is made up of three main areas, called the Eastern, Central, and Western Pools. Each one stretches for several miles across the sea floor. It may sound like a place where nothing could survive, but scientists have discovered that life still exists even here. Deep-sea missions have found tiny organisms like plankton, along with strange creatures such as sea cucumbers and small crustaceans often called sea fleas. These life forms have adapted to survive in complete darkness, crushing pressure, and very little food. Humans have been trying to explore this extreme environment for over a century, but only a handful have ever reached the bottom. In 2012, filmmaker and explorer James Cameron made history by becoming the first person to dive there alone. Inside a specially designed submersible, he traveled nearly 7 miles down in about 2.5 hours. The journey was not easy. During the descent, parts of his sub began to fail due to the intense pressure. Some systems stopped working, and the vehicle became difficult to control. Still, Cameron managed to spend about 3 hours on the ocean floor. During that time, he captured rare images and collected samples, helping scientists discover dozens of new life forms, many of them microscopic. In 2019, another explorer, Victor Vescovo, made the same journey using a submersible called Limiting Factor. His mission, along with others that followed, helped continue the study of this hidden world. Even today, Challenger Deep remains one of the least explored places on Earth. It is a place of darkness, pressure, and mystery, yet it continues to reveal that life can exist in even the most extreme conditions imaginable. Every discovery we make about the Mariana Trench really puts into perspective how little we truly know about the deep ocean. Even today, new species are still being discovered, hidden in the darkness, waiting to be seen for the first time.